Welcome back. So now we have a list of addresses shown, and we can actually add more addresses to this list, but it's hard-coded right now. So if you look at the code right now, you'll notice that if we look at the address list component right here, it's actually hard-coded down here. So notice everything's just built down here with hard-coded values. And of course, that's not the goal of this component. It is that we can kind of get the data from somewhere. Now we could decide to actually add a service like we did before. So inside the ng init, we'll use the address service, right, to get all our addresses and show them. But that would mean that we would kind of bind this component to only show all addresses, just like we did with showing all customers, right, in the customer list. I want to do something different. I want to say that this guy, we can send in addresses from the outside, so we can decide what we want to show. Let me show you why this makes sense. So I've made a beautiful drawing here with 3 different components using the address list component. First, right now we're working with the customer create component that uses this address list component, right? And that's actually going to end up sending in an empty array, because when we create a new customer, we don't know what addresses he should have. So in the beginning, he'll send in an empty array displaying no addresses when we create a new customer. That would make sense, right? So I need some kind of access point here to say, when I'm using from create customer, I want to be able to send in an empty array of customers as input. But when I want to update, I've made an update component here, update create. I wanted to say update customer component. That's going to actually send in the address list as it currently looks on the customer right now. So here we're going to send another input that is the list of addresses already on the customer, right? So we have to send that as a different input, right? So now we have 2 different ways of using the same address list component. We'll either pass in a list of just an empty array for the create component, or we'll pass in the actual current set of addresses on the customer for the update customer component. And we can do even better. So if we look at the last component I want to build, later on, it could be all addresses that can show all the different addresses available for maybe working with addresses from a customer point of view. Then we can use the address service to get all addresses and send those into the address component, right? So notice how simple it is to now reuse this component. All we need to do is figure out how we can change the address array from being something internal in the code right now into actually being something that we can send an input to from the outside. So that's what we're going to do next lesson. We're going to open up for inputs to our address list component using the input inside Angular. See you in the next lesson where we'll do that.